Hey everyone, it's Keely here for Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for today's soap making video where we're doing one of the Patreon soap design challenges. For this month, I asked my patrons to name up to 3 elements that they wanted to see me use in soap, and I put all the suggestions into a soapy jug, and the one I drew out came from Mel, who runs M Body Care here in Australia, and she's actually fairly local to me. I have ordered from off of Mel, and her soaps are absolutely amazing. I've left links down in the description to her website and her socials, so go and actually check her out and see what she has. Mel wanted to see me use some coconut water and or coconut milk in either liquid or powdered form, plus some coconut exfoliant, and I absolutely loved the sound of this combination, and I've been sitting there working on my design, and I decided to go all out and call this one Coco-Nuts and make coconut oil my main oil that goes into this soap. Now, making 100% coconut oil soap bars can be a little bit drying on some people's skin, even when you super fat them up to 20%. So to combat that sort of drying effect that coconut oil can have, I have also added in some shea butter, and I added in refined shea butter so we can actually keep that brilliant whiteness that this soap should actually give to us. So I have, as you saw, weighed out my coconut oil and my shea butter, and I split it up into 2 batches because I really wanted to highlight the coconut water and the coconut cream, or the coconut milk that I'm going to be putting in, and I'm going to be using coconut milk powder just because it's a little bit easier for me to put in, less wastage and things like that. So I split my oils and my lye into 2 parts, and we're going to first of all work with our coconut water, and I'm going to do the bottom of my soap in the coconut water, and I'm also going to add in some coconut exfoliant into the bottom half. Now for my lye solution, I did an almost 1-for-1 lye to water ratio. I do always add in just that little bit more water just to be on a safer side of things, and then I have measured out the rest of it in coconut water. Now I chose to do it this way rather than freezing my coconut water and adding my lye to it, because one thing Mel did say is that if you actually add the lye to the coconut water, even if it's frozen, it can go yellow, and I didn't want it to go yellow. Plus, if you've seen any of my past videos, you also know that I don't have a freezer down here at the shop to be able to freeze it, and it is just way too hot at the moment to be able to transport ice from home to the shop. So we're actually going to add our coconut water directly into our soap oils, and then we're going to add in our lye solution, our exfoliants, and mix it together, add in our fragrance, and pour this one into the bottom of our soap mold. And I kind of really did split this up, not only because of my lye water, but because coconut oil soap can actually move quite quick. So we'll see how quick this one actually moves on us. Hopefully we'll get lucky. I'm going to keep this one fairly simple. There's going to be no intricate design. If it's playing well, we might add a little bit of a color swirl to the top. We'll just see what happens. Let's dive in to making our Coco-Nuts soap bar. Alright, so let's start by adding in our coconut water into our oils. Give that a little bit of a stir. Of course, it's not going to blend because it's oil and water. Let's add in our lye solution. Give it a mix. We'll add in our exfoliant and our fragrance, and today I'm going to be using coconut lime as my fragrance oil because I know that it behaves quite well and doesn't discolor. You can already see that this is beginning to trace, so no more talking. Let's get on with it. Alright, so even though I have just actually smoothed that out with the spatula, I'm not aiming for a nice flat top. I was trying to make sure that we had enough exfoliating across all of the bars to make them fairly even. But now I am just going to go through with my stainless steel spoon and just give the soap a bit of texture on the top, just because I like that look. I don't necessarily like straight lines on my soaps, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a texture. It has moved fairly quick. It gave me a bit of a false sense of security because it looked like it was going to move quick and then it moved slow, and then I gave it a little bit of an extra blend and then bam, it moved quick on me. But it's setting up quite hard because coconut soap does, but it's also set up just enough that I can do that really nice texture. And now we're going to move on to the next piece or the next part of the soap. So let's get this out of the way. We're going to grab a smaller section here. So I did 1 kilo on the bottom, and then I've got just under 1 kilo for the top here. So straight into my oils, I'm going to add my coconut milk powder. I'm going to mix that in first just to make sure that we've got no clumps. Note to self, sift the coconut milk powder before putting it in here. There was a really big clump I was having trouble getting out, and in the process I've put a whole heap of air bubbles in here. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we won't get too many bubbles in our soap. I am going to treat this just a little bit differently to how I did the other one. I'm only going to mix it a little bit and see if we can get a little bit of a green swirl. So I'm going to get my lye water in, and then we'll split it up and add our fragrance, and hopefully we can see what we're going to do. And then I need to show you what this soap is doing behind me. All right, let's get on to it. Alright, are you ready for this? It's gone so brown. That just looks so bad. But there's not much we can do. Let's just hope that the top doesn't go brown as well. Coconut oil should give a beautiful white soap, but I'm going to say that the sugars that are in that coconut water is what has sent this into a brown colour. But hey hum, you win some, you lose some. And you never know, it could actually come back to the proper colour once this has saponified and gone through its cure. That's what I'm going to tell myself. Let me get this out. It is starting to thicken up, and then we'll get it all smoothed out too. Alright, so again, I'm going to use my spoon, and I'm just going to do a bit of a top on here while it's setting up. I'm actually pretty happy with the top, and you know what, if the bottom actually does stay brown, it's not going to really matter too much because it's really going to add to the whole look of coconuts. If you think the bottom of the coconut shell is brown, and then, you know, people associate white and green with coconuts as well, especially being coconut wine. So it's not what I had in my mind at the moment. It could, as I said, all change, but there you go. Let's get this like that. That's looking pretty good. That looks a little bit lower in there. Maybe it's just the way I've swirled it. Alright, that is it. I am not going to do too much else. Now the really good thing about coconut oil soap is that in about 3 to 4 hours I should be able to cut this. So I'll see you again in a minute. Alright, so it's been about 3.5 hours since I made this, and this is feeling pretty hard. One of the things about making coconut oil soap is you do need to cut it sooner rather than later. Otherwise, you just cannot cut it. It becomes a big crumbling mess. But it's also making sure that you get it at the right point where it actually is solid enough that when you cut it, it's not all going to just melt apart. So I think we are at that right sort of stage here. It is feeling pretty warm as well. Now I have just gone and grabbed myself a pair of gloves as well, because even though this is nice and firm, it has not finished its saponification process here, so I don't want to be handling it for too long without my gloves. Let me get it out. We'll get it out of the mold here. Just going to pull it back gently and it's looking pretty good considering the bottom of that went dark brown. That's coming back to a much nicer color. Let me grab my soap cutter. So first up, we've got my trusty little tray to put all the cut bars onto, and I am going to use my single bar cutter because, as I said, it is a hard bar soap and I do not feel like rewiring my multi-bar cutter. So let's grab this one here. I can already see it is starting to crumble, so we do need to get this one cut now. Going to line it up and cut a piece off the end because my molds have been done. So I end up with two lovely end pieces, and I am kind of at the right consistency. I think it is going through the soap nicely. So let's bump it along and cut our first full bar. There it goes. And I absolutely love how this has come up, and I'm so pleased that is not dark brown on the bottom. I really like the color it is at the moment, so I'll wait and see as it does saponify a bit more what color it is going to come out as. Usually a coconut oil soap will give you a bright white bar, but I think because I've added in the coconut milk powder and the coconut water with the higher levels of fat that were in it, and my coconut milk powder is actually quite yellow in color, I think that is what has given the color to this soap. Now when I'm putting it down on my tray, you can see I'm butting them up really close. Normally I leave gaps in between my soaps so that they can actually air, but this time I'm putting it close together so that the warmth of that soap can actually keep saponifying it, and I'm letting it do its thing. But I am so super happy with how this soap bar has come up, and I'm really pleased I managed to get that little bit of color through the top as well. I can feel now I've got this out the mold, it is starting to cool down quite quickly to the touch. It's still quite warm in the middle there. Alright, let's get another couple of these cut. So as I said, this is the recipe I am sharing with my patrons this month, and all of my soap recipes remain available on Patreon for all time, unlike my Bath and Body ones, which are only available for a limited time. So if you do come and join Patreon, you'll be able to access all of the soap recipes that I have released. I can't wait to actually try this. I think the suggestion that came from Mel is absolutely perfect, and I think this is going to be such a wonderful bar of soap. So I know this is the first time I am making this particular soap, so you're probably wondering why I'm releasing a recipe when it's the first time I've made it. I have actually made coconut oil soaps before, so I do know that the recipe works. This is the first time I've put all the additives in, and I think it is just going to really enhance this soap. So there it is. I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me as I made coconuts. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below, and don't forget to go and check out Mel's page as well. Until the next video comes out, I hope you have a great one, and I will see you then. Bye.